Welcome to Jaguar News and Views. I'm Patrick Samotin.
I'm Sophie Friedel, and we're your anchors for today's show.
Jaguar News and Views is produced by the Raise Your Voice students here at Thomas Jefferson, in conjunction with the production staff at WJAG.
Today's show includes Scores in Sports with JJ Moore, upcoming events with Everett Benson and Tessa Ryan, the Jaguar Top 10 list with Gray Din and Sawyer Annenson, and Of Note with Ava Hill.
Today's show also features our Jaguar of the Week with Kara Krenz, Inside Jefferson Unedited with Emma Loma, and What If with Garrett Schoenhofen.
Now let's go to Everett Benson with this week's upcoming events.
Thank you, Sophie. Let's get into these upcoming events. Continuing on Monday, May 11th, AP testing runs all week, so remember, no bells. Good luck to everyone who's taking an AP test. Study hard, and let's get a 5. The orchestra also has a spring concert on Thursday, May 14th at 7 p.m., and it runs till 9 p.m., so show up and support your musical Jags. Moving on to girls varsity sports, on Monday, May 11th, girls varsity golf faces their conference at Dahlgreen Golf Course, and varsity softball plays Spring Lake Park at 4:30 p.m. On Tuesday, May 12th, varsity softball faces New Prague at New Prague again at 4:30 p.m., and girls varsity lacrosse takes the field against St. Louis Park at 6 p.m. On Wednesday, May 13th, girls varsity golf tees off against their conference at Brookview Golf Course at 12:30 p.m., and girls varsity track and field starts their conference championships at Orono at 1:30 p.m. On Thursday, May 14th, girls varsity lacrosse lines up against Holy Angels at 6 p.m., and varsity softball steps in to take on Chanhassen at Dred Scott at 6:30 p.m. On Friday, May 15th, girls varsity synchronized swimming gets ready to compete in their section swim meet at Richfield High School at 5 p.m. On Saturday, May 16th, girls varsity synchronized swimming continues their section swim meet at Stillwater High School at 9 a.m. Show up, support your Jags, and let's go to Tessa with the rest of your upcoming events.
Thanks, Everett. Now on to the guys' varsity sports. On Monday the 11th, the boys' golf team has an invitational at Chaska Town Course at 12 p.m., with the baseball team having an away game at Orono at 4:30. The boys' varsity team has a home game against Waconia at 6 p.m. Tuesday, May 12th, the boys' varsity volleyball team has an away game at New Prague at 7:30. On Wednesday, May 13th, there is a track and field conference championship at Orono starting at 1:30. The baseball team also has an away game at BSM at 4 o'clock, and the lacrosse team is having a home game against Holy Angels at 6. Then on Thursday, the 14th, there is an away baseball game at Haddock's Field at 7. On Friday, the 15th, the boys' golf team has an invitational at Bemidji, but the time is yet to be determined. There's a boys' volleyball invitational at Lakeville South at 4 o'clock, and then an away baseball game at Chaska Athletic Park at 7. Then on Saturday the 16th, there's a golf invitational at Headwaters Golf Course at Park Rapids. Now back to you, Patrick and Sophie.
Thanks, Everett and Tessa. It sure sounds like a busy week ahead for the Jaguars.
Yes, I would definitely say so. There's definitely a lot going on at Jefferson right now. There's club meetings, school events, sports practices, and much more. Nonetheless, the Jaguars are working hard.
It's a good reminder for everyone to stay organized and make the most of what's going on this week.
For sure. Next up is Of Note with Ava Hill.
Hey Jags, today I'm reviewing the Super Mario Bros. Movie. The movie is rated PG and is based on a super popular Nintendo games that a lot of people grew up playing and still play today. Even if you're not a huge gamer, the movie is still really entertaining and easy to follow. The movie follows Mario and Luigi as they get separated after being pulled into a different world through a mysterious pipe system. Mario teams up with Princess Peach and others to try to stop Bowser from taking over the Mushroom Kingdom. The movie has a lot of action, comedy, and references to classic Mario games, which makes it really fun for longtime fans. The animation and visuals are probably one of the best parts of the movie. Everything looks colorful and detailed, and it honestly feels like the video games came to life. The soundtrack is also really good and adds a lot to the big scenes without giving too much away. I would recommend this movie for families, gamers, and honestly anyone looking for a fun movie to watch with friends. Some parts of the movie are a little fast, but overall it's funny, exciting, and entertaining the entire time. I'd give the Super Mario Bros. Movie a 5 out of 5 stars because it stayed true to the games while still making it enjoyable for the fans. Back to you, anchors.
I haven't seen either movies, but this convinced me to go and watch it.
Yeah, thanks for that amazing review, Ava. Now let's take a look at the editorial with Kara Krenz.
I raised my ACT score by 6 points in 2 months. 6 whole points. Now, you must be thinking, wow, you must have gotten so much smarter. I did not. I did not become smarter. I did not learn every math rule. I did not learn every grammar rule. Instead, I learned how to beat the ACT, and that is exactly why the ACT should be banned. First, research from the University of Chicago Consortium on School Research found that high school GPA is a stronger predictor of college graduation than ACT scores. GPA reflects 4 years of real classroom, learning, effort, participation, homework, and consistency, not just one-time test. Second, studies from organizations like Fair Test show that students from higher income families have an advantage. They are far more likely to afford expensive tutoring and test prep courses. These resources can significantly raise ACT scores. This shows the test often reflects access to money, not just academic ability. And third, ACT's own research states that students often improve their ACT scores simply through repetition. ACT states that exposure to practice questions and retesting can lead to score increases. Underlying academic ability does not have to change. That means students aren't getting smarter, they're just getting better at taking the test. It's time we stop pretending that the ACT is a perfect measure of ability, because when taking a test matters more than actually learning, the test has already failed. The ACT doesn't need better strategies, it needs to go.
I didn't take the ACT, but that was some valuable information.
That completely changed how I think about the test.
Now let's go to Scores in Sports with JJ Moore.
Thanks, Sophie and Patrick. We can proudly say that the boys' spring sports are going well so far. Starting off strong, the volleyball team has 15 wins and 3 losses since the beginning of the season. We're 18 games in and only have 3 losses. Remarkable. That's an 83% chance of Jefferson winning a game. Our volleyball team really knows how to play when it comes to making a team effort. Now for baseball, in the matter of 10 games, we got 6 wins and 4 losses. It's almost equal, but we're better than that. You never want to go out mid. Our baseball team excels when it comes to pitching. We rarely offer an opening for our opponent to have a chance because we have Max Coker. Now another place where Jefferson shines is in boys lacrosse. We've gone 8 games and only lost once. An outstanding performance of 7-1. Our lacrosse team really knows how to keep themselves competing even if they're the ones losing. The game we lost was a close one. It was a sad 10-6, but we were still fighting. The games are a pleasing sight to see. We're putting effort into these games and the outcome is showing. Now back to you, Sophie and Patrick.
Thanks, JJ. It's always great to hear how Jaguar sports are doing.
Our spring season is looking to be very successful. It's really good to see that everyone in spring sports is making the most of it.
Yeah, good luck to all the athletes.
Next is the Jaguar Top 10 list with Gray Din and Sawyer Ananson.
One of the toughest parts about high school isn't the classes, it's figuring out what books actually matter. Between assigned reading, trending titles, and whatever your friend swears changed their life, it can get a little overwhelming. So, to save you from carrying around a backpack full of regret, we put together this week's Top 10 list. This week's Top 10 list is Top 10 Books in High Schools Right Now. Number 10 is The Great Gatsby, because nothing says teen life like confusing symbolism and rich people drama. Number 9 is The Hate You Give, powerful, emotional, and the one book people actually finish on time. Number 8 is To Kill a Mockingbird, still proving that some lessons never go out of style. The 7th most popular high school book right now, 1984, because nothing lightens your day like a little surveillance and a little dystopia. Number 6 is The Outsiders. We all know Ponyboy is basically everyone's favorite classmate at this point. Now we go to Sawyer with the top 5.
All right. And these are the top 5 books for high schoolers current day. Number 5, The Catcher in the Rye, for when you're feeling misunderstood or just want to professionally complain. Number 4 is The Lord of Flies, a helpful reminder that group projects could always be worse. And the 3rd book making rounds in high school is now Fahrenheit 451, because banning books is the fastest way to make teens want to read them. Number 2 is Of Mice and Men, short, emotional, and guaranteed to leave the classroom quiet at the end. And the number 1 spot goes to The Hunger Games, proving that if you add action and survival, students suddenly become very interested in reading. Well, those are the top 10 books in high schools right now. Now, Gray and I won't guarantee you these will make homework easier, but they sure beat pretending you read the chapter, hoping the teacher doesn't call on you. Give one a try and maybe finish it. Back to you, Patrick and Sophie.
This list was interesting and it brought back memories. I remember reading a lot of these.
These sounds really interesting. I'll have to try reading some of them. Now let's go to Inside Jefferson Unedited with Emma Loma and Vivian Curhin.
Thanks, Patrick. This week's Inside Jefferson takes a look at the most anticipated event for juniors and seniors, Bloomington's prom. Prom is a big deal for many students, and it's coming up fast. To get insight, I'm going to turn it over to Emma Loma for this week's Inside Jefferson Unedited. Emma?
Thanks, Vivian. I am here with Mr. Johnson to get more insight on this year's school prom. So, Mr. Johnson, what's some important information you can tell us about prom?
Prom is coming up this Friday, Friday, May 8th, this week from 8:30 to 11:30 p.m. at the Mall of America. It's taking place at Nickelodeon Universe and the Parkview Event Center. So the Parkview Event Center is the more like traditional ballroom for the kind of like the dance. And Nickelodeon Universe is obviously where students can go if they are not, they don't want to dance or they just want to go on the rides with their friends. That's an option as well. So that's all coming up on Friday.
That is amazing. One last question. How do we go to prom?
So the process to go to prom is a little different this year. So in the past, we've just had students go to the main office. They've needed to pre-register and then go to the main office to get an actual physical paper ticket. This year, students need to purchase their tickets online. So I sent out an email to all juniors and seniors. And they need to go buy their ticket through GoFan, which is the kind of the ticketing platform that we use for athletics and activities. And so students need to buy their ticket online, and their ticket will be on their phone. That will be their entrance in. And if they want to bring a guest, then they would have to still do the guest form and get a paper ticket for them. That's the little caveat for a guest.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
This is great information, and I'm sure it will be thoroughly used. That's it for this week's Inside Jefferson. Back to you.
Great look inside of the Jefferson life. It's always fun to see stuff that students might not normally notice.
I really care about our school, so I love seeing things like this. Now let's see our Jaguar of the Week with Kara Krenz.
Hey Jags, the Jaguar of the Week is the Jefferson boys lacrosse head coach Scott Cater. He has received 2 Coach of the Year honors this season and led the team to its first Metro West Conference championship since 2016. Also, the Minnesota State High School League Coaches Association selected Cater as the Section 6 and statewide Coach of the Year. In addition to the conference title, the boys team also earned the MSHSL Silver Award for having an overall team GPA of more than 3.5. 11 individual players on his team have earned a lot of 30 league awards, including the highest honor of All-American earned by seniors Bennett Lindman and Owen Baker. A quote from Scott Cater is that good is the enemy of great. It's clear that Coach Cater is a great coach and has a great team this year. Back to you, anchors.
Thanks, Kara. Congrats to this week's Jaguar of the Week. We have so many outstanding Jags here that show up as their best selves every day.
Definitely. That was a well-deserved recognition for the Jaguar of the Week. And with that, let's move on. Finally, we will go to What If with Garrett Schoenhofen.
What if gravity suddenly disappeared? I don't just mean where you lift off the ground a little bit. I mean where buildings become disconnected from their foundations. The planets come out of alignment, and everything turns to disarray. Think about it. Not only would everything suddenly start flying, it would become impossible to live. The Earth would slowly drift away from the sun, turning the landscape into an icy mass. What about the oceans? No longer contained by shores and basins, massive clumps of water, kept together by pure surface tension, would crash into everything, causing catastrophe. So when you're daydreaming about how fun a walk on the moon would be, think of all the good our gravity does for us. Now back to you, anchors.
Thinking about a world without gravity makes me feel nauseous.
Yeah, that what if question was really interesting. What a fun note to end on.
Well, I sure hope that everyone has a great rest of the week and keeps supporting all the amazing things happening here at Jefferson.
I completely agree. We're all working hard during the final push of the year.
Thank you for watching this edition of Jaguar News and Views.
See you next time, Jags.